Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series, the Strange Tales Build-A-Figure wave of Blackheart. So here we have the first one that I'll be reviewing, Bloodstorm. I have almost the entire wave, except I have two figures that are out for delivery right now, and I just can't wait on them anymore. One is being Moon Knight that I'm getting from Toy Snowman, and the other is Brother Voodoo that I'm getting from Big Bad Toy Store. All my figures have come from Big Bad Toy Store, except for my Weapon of Vengeance, which I did get from Amazon. I think currently at the time of filming, the only one that is in stock and readily available at Big Bad Toy Store is Damon Hellstrom. But let's go ahead and get into it. So typically I would just go in order that, we see on the cross-sell on the back of the package. So it would have been Moon Knight to start, Weapon of Vengeance to end, but I'm going to probably just jump around, I guess. We'll kind of see how it goes when I'm doing it. But first up, we're going to go with Bloodstorm. Not really sure why, but seemed like a pretty popular one that people were excited for when it was announced. I don't think the figure is super great, if I'm being honest with you. And mine seems to have an issue where the face print is misaligned slightly. It sounds like a lot of people have had that issue, but we'll get into it. So we have the Strange Tale, so we see the logo there in the front, logo up at the top. On the side, we get some artwork and it says Bloodstorm. On this side, we have that artwork of Bloodstorm there. This is the Build-A-Figure packaging. I do not... Oh, I guess I have similar because I guess they're all the same size. So the typical or standard Marvel Legends without a Build-A-Figure piece is going to be kind of the same size as the Star Wars Black series. So you can see this is a little bit wider and then a little bit thicker as well. But otherwise, the same shape packaging. But anyway, Bloodstorm, there, the cross-sell. The bio reads, a mutant and proficient thief, Aurora Monroe, was targeted by Dracula and transformed into a vampire known as Bloodstorm. So, she is the only vampire. Well, I guess, yeah, Dracula, he's like the vampire of vampires, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and get Bloodstorm out of the package, and let's take a look at her, as well as that Build-A-Figure piece, the Blackheart torso and tail. Okay, so this is interesting how they got the Build-A-Figure piece to stay in there. So you have to have the tail wrap around kind of at the bottom. They had to twist the torso to be able to fit it in the packaging the right way. Or maybe they didn't have to do this. Maybe they just did it that way. So from the packaging, you can slightly have seen it. Just thought that was interesting to call out. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We have about 3 months left to go and just about 2,500 subscribers left. With your help, I know we can do that, but make sure to hit that subscribe button now. Okay, so here we have the Bloodstorm figure out of the package, and so far whoops, there she goes. So the accessories that she comes with, she has a couple of hands. So this is just kind of the wide open hand that we get with most female figures, although now that I've taken a closer look, what I thought was that this one actually has nails. So I think that is actually fairly new. I don't want to go as far as to say that these are brand new hands, but these hands actually have long nails on them. So that is something different. So I noticed this one's definitely different because instead of just the hands kind of going out, she's almost like kind of doing a grip, but she's got two fingers kind of out, and then this hand also has nails, short or long nails. So this hand I definitely don't recognize. I don't want to say that it's new either because I've seen so many hands at this point I can't remember which is which. But these definitely seem new. Now on the figure itself, these ones definitely seem new as well because these are more like claw type, like because she's a vampire, she wants to attack you kind of thing. She's got long nails on these hands as well, as you can see there. And they're just kind of grip claw style. But here we have the Storm figure. I thought this was basically going to be the exact same figure as the Punk Storm that we had gotten before. But there's actually some differences. Now, the legs are going to be the same. And that's actually pretty much it. I thought it was going to be basically a repaint. So I was shocked to find that there's a lot of different pieces on here. I don't want to call them new because I think they have been reused before. I'd have to double check the boots, but we actually have like a heel style boot this time around that is different. No, that's the same. Never mind. I'm sorry, the boots are the same. So the entire lower body is completely the same. We got like dark gray pants as opposed to black. But the two Storm figures are not the same. So different arms, different hands, different torso, different jacket. So yeah, completely different from the waist up. So a little bit surprising. We get 2 head sculpts. So we have one where she has her open mouth and you can see the fangs in there. That's pretty cool. And then we have one with a closed mouth, which again is misaligned on the paint on her lips. Not the whole face, just her lips, it seems. So we'll take a closer look at that. We have the Blackheart Build-A-Figure piece, as you can see there. So we get bendy wire in the tail, which is nice, which is cool. As you can see, you can kind of form it out. So I just kind of, straightened it out that way. I don't know, in terms of the bendy wire, how much we could really go to it. It's pretty thick, so it's not going to get a huge amount of bend in there, so just be aware of that. But the articulation is going to be great. We got the diaphragm, we got the inverted ab, we got butterfly joints in there, so that's going to be really good. So we'll take a look at the Blackheart Build-A-Figure piece once we look at all the figures. So now let's go ahead and zoom in on Storm. Okay, so here's the up-close look at Storm. This head sculpt looks really good. She's got the gold hoop earrings in there. It looks like she's got an eyebrow piercing in there, and then we've got red eyes, a lot of shading around her eyes, which looks good. You have the open mouth in there, so that looks nice. Swapping out the head, I feel like you got to be very careful on this head because it's small. You don't get a lot of room to grip, and you don't want to wiggle it so much. And it's fairly tight on there, so just be careful. You're not going to pop this hinge or anything. There's a little bit of give in there, but that always worries me because I've broken some necks on figures before, so you do want to be very careful. So this is more of a relaxed look for Bloodstorm, but as you can see, the lips slightly misaligned, so it's just over to her left just a little bit, which causes the fangs to be off-centered from where they should be. The eyes, to me, look okay. The shading on there, everything looks good. You know what I wonder? Should that gold paint actually be on there? Because she doesn't have a piercing on this one. So do I just have a very badly painted one? I'd have to go back and look at images. I'll do that here shortly. But to me, it looks like that's a eyebrow piercing, or what should be. Maybe mine's just painted really bad, and I need to try and get an exchange. But anyway, there's this one, and this one looks pretty good too, other than the lips and the teeth, of course. But sculpt-wise, everything looks pretty good. Looking at the rest of the figure, we got this Xmen belt here. One thing about it, there's buckles on both sides, but only one set of buckles are painted, and I looked at the promo images, and it's the same way there, so it's not something where mine's missing paint or anything like that. Her leather jacket, we get some nice silver buttons in there, and then the zippers are all painted silver, so that looks pretty good. Just gray pants the rest of the way. These are pins, these are old legs, and I could tell you that they are super duper gummy, like really bad. These are probably going to warp over time, depending on how you have her set up in your display. Like my Storm figure is a little bow-legged on that right leg, and I'm sure, no doubt in my mind, this will happen because it's super duper gummy, like really bad. Unfortunately, the jacket sleeves look pretty good. We've seen those before. Nothing else going on there. So now let's go ahead and zoom out for her articulation. Okay, so Storm's articulation. The ponytail is gonna, well, you know what? Surprisingly, doesn't hinder too much. She can look up for a pretty good amount. She can look down that much there, which is good. You get a full rotation in there, and you can get some pivot going on in that neck, which is pretty good. The arm you can get to go straight on out, upwards a little bit there. You can do a full rotation. There's not a whole lot of arm articulation in there. You just have a swivel at the elbow, and so you give a single joint at elbow. Let me see. There, 90 degrees, swivel that around, not a whole lot, but I want to say that's going to be the one there. So 90 degree bend at the elbow, maybe just slightly less, as you can see there. A little unfortunate, but with these jacketed sleeves, they have not given us double jointed elbows for female figures yet. Maybe eventually. The diaphragm tilt is really good. To the left, that much there. To the right, that much there. Going back, wow, pretty far back, but going forward, like hardly anything. Like that was basically nothing. We actually have a waist swivel on her, which is something new. And then you also have a swivel at that diaphragm. Did the Storm figure have a swivel at the waist? Oh, there was no swivel at the waist on here. So that entire torso piece is new. So that is a big difference from the previous one. I thought the hip piece was going to be the same, but no. Added waist swivel in there. That's pretty good. A little redundant with a diaphragm and a waist swivel because they can both swivel. But hey, I guess it's something. We get new parts, right? New parts are always a win. Legs can go out that far apart. She can kick forward that far. The leg doesn't really go back. You got an upper thigh cut in there. A double jointed knee that is pinned and super duper gummy. As you can see, like it's difficult to bend the knee because it just wants to like gummy up and go. Like it's hard to, like I can't even get this upper. There we go. Like it's really bad, guys. The gumminess is actually really bad. It's terrible on this figure. So just a heads up on that. It's so gummy, like it doesn't want to hinge because of how soft and rubbery it is. So that's not good. No boot swivel, which is kind of odd because why would there not be a boot swivel? Did the old Storm figure have a swivel at the boot? It did not either. So that is not new. Feels like they should have, right? Because there's two separate pieces, so why not swivel? Foot hinges down, you get hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent torso articulation of that diaphragm, tilt and going back. Forward is terrible, as in all the Hasbro diaphragm joints, basically. And then super gummy legs. But hey, if you needed a vampire version of Storm, you got one now. Okay, so here we have Bloodstorm next to Jubilee, and the reason why I did this is because I consider this my vampire version of Jubilee, whether or not this is supposed to be. I just kind of threw it together there. Now, I haven't opened Dracula. I typically do figures one by one. When I do the Dracula review, I will do the side-by-side with Dracula there. But in my mind, these are the two vampire figures that I have in my collection. Other than Blade, of course, the vampire hunter, he is half vampire, half human. So here we have the two Blade figures that we have gotten in the Marvel Legends. This Blade was the kind of the more recent one. The Build-A-Figure was... Oh my gosh, was it the Void? Is that what wave? Wait, which wave? Oh no, it was the Mindless one. The Mindless one, Build-A-Figure wave. We are getting so few Build-A-Figures now that I can't even keep track of what the waves were. So Blackheart is like our second Build-A-Figure of the year. Third if you count the Void, which the Void I got at the end of 2023. So do I consider that a 2024, or was the Mindless one at the end of the 2023? I don't even remember. That's how crazy it's been. So I feel like Build-A-Figures are slowly going away, or just limited to where we get only a couple of years, seeing as how those waves are kind of no longer going to be in stores. It seems they're going to stick to fan channels, unfortunately. But anyway, back to Blade and Storm. So we have a couple of vampires here. So Blade and Bloodstorm. This Blade, which is a no good Blade figure, I'm going to get that out of the way because we don't really care for that one. But there we go. We have our two vampires. 3 if you count Jubilee. Just throwing that in there. Okay, so here's the full-on side-by-side with Bloodstorm and the Punk Storm figure that we got. You can see her hair, it being much taller, kind of really makes the difference. A little bit of difference in the torso that makes this Storm almost seem just a tad bit taller. They are very similar, so that's kind of the difference there. So same legs, different torso hip pieces, and all of that going on. Okay, so that is my review of Bloodstorm. Most of you guys are probably going to pick her up just because you need to build a figure piece for Blackheart, because he is going to be pretty exciting, I think. And she's just, you know, one of those figures that was fairly easy for Hasbro to do, although... I mean, the torso, I'd have to go through all the figures to see if it's something that we've gotten reused. We've likely seen it before, but I would have to double check that. We don't typically get waist swivel on female figures, so again, I'd have to see, you know, if that's something new there. But yeah, so just kind of a figure I think, you know, people are just going to pick up for the Build-A-Figure piece. Hopefully the paint apps are going to be good on yours, you know, the misaligned mouth on this one. And then that big-ass gold paint spot, I looked it up, that is not supposed to be there at all. So my apologies for earlier thinking, hey, maybe it's a eyebrow piercing. It's not, it's just poorly painted, so bad QC there. Hopefully your guys' is good. Mine is not. I'll see what I could do about getting a replacement. But yeah, you guys let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on Bloodstorm. Again, I think an easy pass. Unless you need to build Blackheart, then hey, you're going to need to pick her up because she comes with the torso piece to Blackheart, and I think that's going to be a pretty good Build-A-Figure. Likely going to be Build-A-Figure of the year. Probably going to be hard to top Zabu. Oh, Zabu. Zabu was this year, right? Mindless one would have been for sure last year. I'd have to go back and double check all of that. But anyway, Bloodstorm, let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. If you guys liked the video, please do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Oh, she keeps falling. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Help me reach my goal of 50,000. We're almost there. And as always, thank you for watching.